God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. Think for a moment about why God would send his Son to earth. What reasons would he have had to do that? There is just one answer: love. God so deeply loved us and wanted us to love him in return that he sent his Son to live among us and show us how we could have an intimate relationship with him. A relationship that would last forever. A relationship that would prove to the world that we have a Father that loves us dearly and a friend who sticks closer than any brother. Jesus was God in the flesh. Emmanuel means God with us. God himself came to earth so we could know him. God, the creator and ruler of the universe, left his heavenly throne and all the glory of heaven to mingle his life and blood with the grit and grime of humanity. Why? Why would a king step down from his throne for us? Only love would do that. This third candle reminds us of the great love that God has for us and what he did to show us that love.
I will be quick. I know the choir the choir musical is going to last some time, and so I want to give them as much time as possible. But I do need to share with you today from Isaiah chapter 9. Verse 6 says, "For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." The last two Sundays, we've talked about the first two of these descriptive names that Isaiah gave to Jesus, the Wonderful Counselor and the Mighty God. Today, we'll briefly unpack what it means for him to be our everlasting Father. Few words evoke the same emotions that we feel when we hear the word Father. Some of us feel a sense of loss during this time of year when we hear it, because maybe we had good fathers, but that father is no longer with us. Or others, maybe because they have unfulfilled longings for a relationship, the kind of father that they always wanted, but they never had. Whatever the situation you're in, it's comforting for us to read about the birth of this one who is going to be an everlasting Father. Under his care, under his protection, under his provision, we are safe and will be safe for all eternity. In this verse, Isaiah describes Jesus' character. He will be fatherly or father-like in the way that he treats his children. For example, he will be firm yet loving. He is strong, yet gentle. That's the kind of father that Jesus will be to us. To me, it's fun to watch a big, burly, manly man with his brand new baby. Isn't it fun? You put a baby in that guy's arms and he just melts. That's the way I am. And I'm a manly man. That wasn't funny to me. But this big burly guy loves that baby, and he will be so gentle, and it's so precious to him, and he will do anything that he can to provide for it, anything that he can to take care of that precious baby. Listen, that is the picture that Isaiah is trying to paint for us in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. Jesus can show us God's fatherly characteristics because Jesus is one with the Father. Now, Isaiah couldn't possibly have understood this on his own, but from Jesus' own lips, we read these words in John chapter 10. He said, "I and the Father are one." He also said, "Know and understand that the Father is in me and I am in the Father." If you want to know what God is like, look at Jesus. Jesus shows us exactly who God the Father is. Well, what kind of father does Isaiah say this Jesus, this baby that is to be born, what kind of father is he going to be? Well, he's going to be an everlasting Father. Now remember, Isaiah is writing 700 years before Jesus is to be born. Okay? 700 years in the future, he's looking. Yet he makes it clear that this child is the author of eternity and that he will become an eternal father to his people. This Father will never leave us. He will never abandon us. He will never forsake us. He will always be there to comfort, to guide, to care for, to protect, to advise us. Nothing in all creation can separate us from the love that he has for us. Listen, not even death can separate us from that love. There are times when I would like to ask my dad for advice. Several times over the past several months, I've thought, I really want to ask Dad about that, or I need to call Dad and talk to him about this. But my dad passed away back in June, and so I can't call him and ask his advice anymore. But listen, Jesus assured us in Hebrews chapter 13, never will I leave you. Never will I forsake you. So listen, everything that you have ever dreamed that a father could be, everything you've ever wanted in your relationship with your Father, Jesus is and will be to you if you'll let him. He will be a forever Father and always be Father-like in every way as he shepherds us, as he protects us, as he guides us, as he cares for us. In Jesus, you will have the perfect Father forever. Sadly, the word Father doesn't always bring to mind someone who lovingly guides and cares for us and protects us. Instead, to some, it brings up adjectives like distant or aloof or absent or unreliable or selfish or uncaring or even cruel. And it's sad to say that even among Christian families, far too many children experience an emotional indifference and a distance and neglect from their dads. Let's not let that happen. Listen, that is not so with Jesus. He, your everlasting Father, came down from heaven into this broken, fallen, terrible, sinful world to fill our hearts with God's love and to teach us how to love each other. He came to make us sons and daughters who were at one time his enemies. This is the gift that God gave us at Christmas. An eternal, everlasting Father. Let's pray.